Unit 731. In the freezing wilderness of northeast China during World War II, a secret Japanese military unit conducted experiments that still haunt history. Officially called Unit 731, it was disguised as a research facility. In reality, it was a death lab. Prisoners were exposed to extreme temperatures until their skin froze solid, infected with deadly diseases to see how fast they spread, and even dissected alive, without anesthesia. The scientists claimed it was for medical progress, but the real purpose was to create better weapons. When the war ended, many of the unit's leaders avoided punishment by trading their research to other governments, leaving their victims suffering buried under political deals. Tuskegee Syphilis Study. In 1932, for 40 years, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted one of the most infamous medical betrayals in history. 600 poor black men in Alabama, many already infected with syphilis, were misled into believing they were receiving free health care. In truth, the doctors were only observing how untreated syphilis destroyed the human body. Even after penicillin was discovered as a cure, the men were deliberately denied treatment. Many went blind, insane, or died slow, painful deaths. Wives were infected, and children were born with congenital syphilis. By the time the study was exposed in 1972, it had become a chilling reminder of how racism and science combined to exploit the most vulnerable. The Stanford Prison Experiment. In 1971, a quiet basement at Stanford University was turned into a fake prison. Volunteers were split into two groups, guards and prisoners, and told it was just a psychology experiment. At first, everyone treated it like a game, but within hours the guards began barking orders, forcing prisoners to do humiliating tasks and waking them in the middle of the night for drills. The prisoners, stripped of their names and given numbers, began showing signs of stress, depression, and even breakdowns. What was supposed to last 2 weeks spiraled out of control in just 6 days when the lead researcher shut it down, admitting he had underestimated how quickly ordinary people could become cruel when given power. 4. The Monster Study. In 1939, 22 orphan children in Iowa became part of a speech experiment. Half of them were encouraged, told they spoke beautifully. The other half were criticized relentlessly, warned that their speech had problems, even when it didn't. For months, these children were pressured to fix non-existent flaws. The result was heartbreaking. Several developed lifelong stutters, and many withdrew from speaking altogether. It was later called the Monster Study, not because of what it studied, but because of the cruelty of the scientists toward children who had no choice but to obey. MKUltra mind control. During the Cold War, the CIA became obsessed with controlling the human mind. Under a program called MKUltra, agents secretly tested powerful drugs, most famously LSD, on unsuspecting people. Some victims were prisoners, others hospital patients, and some were simply tricked into drinking laced cocktails. The goal was to see if a person's personality could be erased and replaced. Many subjects reported terrifying hallucinations that never fully went away, and some didn't survive. For years, MKUltra remained a whispered rumor, until documents were accidentally uncovered in the 1970s, revealing a disturbing truth. The U.S. government had spent decades turning human beings into unwitting test subjects. Project 4.1. In 1954, the United States detonated a massive hydrogen bomb, codenamed Castle Bravo, in the Pacific. Nearby, the Marshall Islanders, ordinary families living on their ancestral lands, were exposed to deadly nuclear fallout. The white powder falling from the sky looked like snow, but it was radioactive ash. Children played in it, unaware of the poison seeping into their skin. Soon, villagers suffered burns, nausea, hair loss, and later, horrific cancers. Unknown to them, the U.S. government labeled this Project 4.1, a secret medical study to document the effects of radiation on humans. Instead of helping the victims, they used them as test subjects. The islanders lived with deformities, miscarriages, and trauma that continues across generations. Operation Sea Spray. In 1950, San Francisco's foggy streets became the stage for a secret U.S. Navy experiment. Without warning the public, military ships sprayed clouds of bacteria into the air in order to determine how vulnerable a city like San Francisco to a biological attack. Residents went about their daily lives, breathing in microbes they never knew surrounded them. Soon after, doctors reported unusual infections, including a rare case that led to the death of a man recovering from surgery. For decades, the government denied responsibility. insisting the bacteria was harmless, but later evidence showed it was not. The people of San Francisco had been used as test subjects, their health sacrificed in a chilling rehearsal for biological warfare. UK Porton Down nerve gas tests. For decades, Britain's top-secret research base, Porton Down, conducted chemical warfare experiments on its own servicemen. Thousands of soldiers were told they were testing common colds or mild defenses. In reality, many were exposed to mustard gas, nerve agents, and even deadly sarin. Some collapsed immediately, suffering seizures and burns. Others developed long-term health problems that haunted them for life. At least one airman, Ronald Madison, died in 1953 after being exposed to sarin gas during an experiment he believed was harmless. Families were kept in the dark, and justice came slowly, if at all. Porton Down remains active today, its history a chilling reminder of how governments can sacrifice their own in the name of national security. Soviet space endurance research. During the Cold War, East German and Soviet researchers conducted secret endurance tests on cosmonauts and animal subjects to prepare for long-duration space missions. These experiments exposed test subjects to extreme heat, cold, isolation, and chemical stimuli, including anabolic steroids, to push physical and mental limits. Some studies even probed neuropeptides for stress resilience. The research was cloaked in secrecy, heavily monitored by the Stasi, and designed to create a new human for the demands of space. The human cost of these tests was hidden behind ideological promises and the competitive pressure of the space race. NKVD poison experiments on Gulag prisoners. Between the 1920s and the 1950s, the Soviet secret police, NKVD, conducted lethal poison testing in secret labs named Laboratory 1, Camera, and others. Political prisoners from the Gulag were forced to ingest or inhale poisons like mustard gas, ricin, curare, and digitoxin as medication. Many died within minutes, their bodies showing no traces of toxins even on autopsy. The goal was to create an undetectable, silent assassin toxin. Victims experienced rapid weakening, physical shrinkage, and death in under 15 minutes. The experiments were authorized at the highest levels, with political prisoners treated as disposable test subjects. The entire program remained hidden until Soviet archives were opened decades later. The South African military experiments. During apartheid-era South Africa, the military carried out a secret program that targeted soldiers suspected of being gay. Instead of offering support directly, doctors subjected them to horrific so-called treatments. Some were chemically castrated, others endured brutal electric shock therapy, and hundreds were forced into gender reassignment surgeries, all without consent. These weren't isolated incidents. Thousands of young men were experimented on, and their lives were destroyed by the system. The scars were permanent, physical, psychological, and social. For decades, many of the victims lived in silence, their suffering hidden under the guise of science.